Hello, I'm Gregory Mosley, martial art instructor, and this is Martial Art Universe, bringing you the finest of the martial arts from around the world. Point. Back in 2015, the Museum of the Moving Image, the Fist and Sword series, gave a live event called Martial Art Movie Fantasy vs. Reality. It was hosted by film producer and martial artist Warrington Hudlin. 10 different martial art masters were invited to discuss their favorite martial art movie fight scene and explain and demonstrate how martial arts works in the movies versus real life. This video shows the highlights of that great event.
Kenpo, you haven't seen Kenpo in the movies that much. One of the main guys that brought Kenpo to the main screen was a guy named Jeff Speak. He made a movie called Perfect Weapon. Now, you old guys have seen a lot of cinematic fighting, kung fu, and so forth and so on, but there's a difference between real fighting and fighting for the movies in theater. When we're fighting for the movies in theater, there's a... Yeah, sure. It's all about survival. That's what it's all about when you're fighting for your street. Can you hear? Yeah. Okay. So if you was to throw I come straight in. That would be more survival mode. Theater mode, because the camera, so you're trying to sell something to the audience.
That's moving.
You're trying to convey, they have to see what you're doing.
Slow it down, do it again. Slow it down.
If I go here, difference between, because the audience has to be able to take in what they just saw. If I go, the audience might not be able to take that right away.
Can everybody see?
Okay. If I come here, the block like this, stop, and then begin again. That's a rhythm. So all fighting has rhythm, even for the street. But for the movies, it's a different kind of rhythm. You guys watch Dancing with the Stars, right? When you're fighting, when you're doing martial art choreography for movies, it's like Dancing with the Stars. You have to rely on your partner has to rely on you, and it's a rhythm to it. That's why Bruce Lee said, the art of fighting without fighting, and also the emotion that you put into your technique. If I was fighting in the street, I would just go right into it. But for the movies, I would emphasize the emotional, what do you call emotional content? That's what you meant. There's an emotion that comes with fight choreography, and the audience has to be able to see that when you're doing fight choreography. When you're doing choreography for the movie, because you notice everything's like emphasis, and the guy has his face in a certain, and they have a close-up of the guy's face. You don't do that in the street. That's only for the movies. So a lot of fighters, because they're world champions, they go into the movies and they figure, oh, I'm a world champion. I can do the same. This is a completely different style altogether. If you grab me, I would break here, here. But in the street, and for the movies, I would emphasize the break here, then come in. So the camera would be right there for this shot. Then maybe they would show him going down this way, which I'm not going to do. So what you're doing is telegraphing. You're telegraphing your techniques for the movies. Where in the street, you wouldn't telegraph, you go straight in. Because I want to go from the point of origin If my hand is here, I'm going straight in. But for the movies, I'm gonna emphasize certain techniques. Stop. Boom. Here. Here. So people will see it. Me. Here. That's another thing. These type of techniques, until the camera gets close in, you probably wouldn't use it. Unless they have a close shot. Because the audience won't be able to see this. It's like hitting techniques. They don't know what you just did. That's why if you notice, when a fighter's fighting in the movies, he'll do a technique, and there'll be a little hesitation before he goes to the next guy. Because you have to take in what he just did. If I was in a real street, here I go to the next guy, finish him off. But in a real movie, I would go here, whoop, sorry, and go on.
And I'm taping up with it.
That was a slap.
You guys can't do the face.
That's the difference between real movie choreography and real fighting for the street. Now,
Any questions?
Any questions?
Before I get knocked out, go ahead.
Real fights in the streets, you're trying to not get hurt and win.
Right.
In the movies, they're trying not to hurt each other.
Right, exactly.
But by the way, movies are totally different now than what you're talking about. Because if you see the new Jason Bourne,
All right.
you can't even see the fight.
Which, by the way, who seen Jason Bourne? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Who saw last night or 2 nights ago the season premiere of Blind Spot? Okay, you didn't see that? I'm on record by saying the season premiere of Blind Spot crushed Jason Bourne.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, from plotting, from fighting choreography, Jason Bourne is over.
Yeah.
If you like that, see Blind Spot. It's a most amazing
And also,
television series.
Jason Bourne starts with Jason Bourne. We've seen other movies he's been in.
Right.
Closing his fist, walking up to a Russian, and punching him in the face.
Right.
Which is the last thing he would have done, the Jason Bourne of the previous films would have done. Also, we know we're in bad shape in movie action when James Bond, Inspector, is fighting a guy, he has an ice pick in his hand, and he goes after Mr. Hinks like this with the ice pick.
Oh, terrible.
Like this. So, movie action now, you can check my podcast, but movie action now is terrible.
Tell about your podcast. What is it?
Podcast is called Professor Rick's Action Film Autopsy.
Where can we see it?
You can see it. It'll be on iTunes soon, but right now you can get it on actionfilmautopsy.com. 2 episodes are up. I'm doing the summer wrap-up next week and the 2 weeks after that. It comes out every 2 weeks. But, yeah, the good old days of movie action is when you could see the fight. Sure. I mean, even Mechanic Resurrection, the latest Jason Statham, and Statham is never, ever anything but brutally efficient. It's edited with a shredder. The first fight is awesome, but you can't see it.
Bad editing.
Bad
The
editing.
whole movie is bad editing.
That's right, it's all bad
That's what I
editing.
seen it. It's bad editing.
Yeah.
We're all hoping for the best with Luke Cage. Luke
Yeah.
Cage is James Liu doing the action choreography. But you have to fight the producers who are saying all the audience wants is mixed martial arts and all the audience wants is MTV editing.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Right. That's why when Bruce Lee did The Green Hornet, his first time he got on set and started working with the stunt guys, they told him, they said, listen, look at this. We can't have you doing this. He was just a blur. They told him he had to slow down. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in The Green Hornet as Kato. See, we can't see you. And if the stuntman couldn't really react, I mean, they weren't used to that type of thing. They couldn't really react to what he was doing. And in a real fight, maybe you might get a 1-2 knockout or a 1 knockout. In the movies, that's not going to happen. I mean, you pay, how much is this movie? $12, $13? You're going to pay that amount of money for a 1-punch knockout. So wait a minute, that's what I paid to see? You want entertainment, it's entertainment purposes.
Now,
That's why, it's the difference.
and so, topic now
Hey, good evening. We were supposed to actually have more people here, but we had a lot of last minute cancellations. I don't know with weather, maybe it's,
You here,
got
you
busy.
here, you
But
here.
we did have maybe 3 or 4 more people that did cancel out on us. So one of the topics that we talked about at the museum as in regards to martial arts is reality, as Mitchell was talking about, reality with movies versus the real life. The other thing we like to talk about is how the movies portray the arts that we do. As there are many, many movies over the many, many years that have lots of different martial arts styles portrayed. So if you practice a martial arts system, you always like to see a movie that represents what you do. And then you tell your friends about it. Look, they have a movie about Wing Chun. I like Get Mad when Dr. Mitchell was talking about. Or in my case, they've had several Praying Mantis movies. The Thundering Mantis, Prodigal Son, the Dance of the Drunken Mantis, the Deadly Mantis. So it was a very popular style to be in movies at one point. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. We haven't seen any Mantis movies in quite a while. Maybe there'll be a change in that. Okay. So what I'll do is I have one of my students here, because my other student didn't show up, and I'm going to demonstrate and talk a little bit about Praying Mantis, and a little bit about the movements, and also, talk a little bit about how it relates to the movies that we've seen in it. Give me help.
It's Jason when we need him.
No, Jerry's supposed to be here. I don't know. Okay, this is Graham Sabreski. Now, Graham is actually. Graham has been with me since he was 12 years old.
Whoa.
Since he was a little kid, and he's still here because in our martial arts community we're family, and we remain family. So all of the fellow students are considered brothers and sisters, so that even throughout life, even if they stop training martial arts, they're still part of our family. And when we have events, they come by sometimes and just to visit. I say I don't do it anymore, but I just like to see everybody. So it's always good to have people that have been with me for a long time, and also people that have, recently come on board. And learning the physics, and not so much about the size, how big somebody is. That's why anybody can learn it. Could be the kids, women, people of smaller stature. They can learn it. You don't have to be a big muscly guy. The other second thing is that the longevity factor. Martial arts is very good for our longevity. All right, myself and my brother right here, Mr. Warrington Hudlin, we're both the same age, and you see we're in pretty good shape. Right, that's 64 years old, so we're doing pretty good. And I think that I don't feel anything breaking right now or falling off. So I think I'll be around for a while longer. Okay, so let's get to the Mantis. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is learn how to stick to our opponent. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it slow, and then I'll talk about it faster. Okay, so if a person extends his arm out, as far as I'm concerned, he's a human being, right? He's not an octopus. He only has 2 arms and 2 legs. He's not going to throw, other things are not going to sneak out from over here. He's not an alien, okay? So the hand is going to come out, all right? And at some point, I'm going to make contact to his hand. Once I make contact, that's where the Mantis differs from everything else, okay? Why? Okay, do a jab. Yeah, quick. Okay, so everybody that fights will do this. Okay, but the problem with that is that we can do that all day. Okay, there's no real progression, right, in what's happening here. So what the Praying Mantis wants to do is somehow try to stick to the opponent. So just do it. Put your hand out slow. So if the person extends his hand and I touch it, as I did a minute ago, what I want to do is try to stay with the person's hand. So pull your hand back as his hand comes back. You move his hand this way, I stick. It goes this way, I stick. Okay? Now this is sort of the idea of what it comes about. Because if he punches and I just do this, he can punch again. Right? But he punches and I do this, he can't punch again. Right? So the idea of sticking to the person is what we hit. That's number 1. Number 2, we want to cause the person's hand to conflict with each other. Right? If the person's hand is here and it comes back, the other hand can come and hit me. However, if the hand comes here and comes back, I'll bring it back, and I push it this way, it causes the other hand to have a hard time, right? Something's in the way, right? This is all strategy. It's all strategy. So he jabs, and I want to stick and move. The next thing, in regards to tying the hands up or causing the hands to get in the way, is what we call trapping the hand, okay? So if he grabs my hand and he punches, all right, I have 2 choices. I can move out of the way or I can block. Okay? My third choice is that he punches, I can block it, and I can trap, and I can stick. As you see, he's holding himself. Like this. He's holding himself. Right? If a person grabs, punch, I use a circle action. This circle action is called the mantis catching the cicada. And what it looks like is this. So when people see doing martial arts, they see the mantis style, they say, oh, what is that guy doing? He's just waving his hands around. He's not doing very much. How can you use that in a fight? Things like that. But when you see it applied, then you see a big difference. Something like that. Now, what's good about using circles? Circles are very important because if a person punches straight and I go straight, there is no interlocking, all right? There is no crossing of the road. If a person goes straight and I go circle, it crosses. See? If he kicks, if I circle, it crosses. Anything he punches, he kicks, anything that comes in a circle, I will intersect because I'm doing circles. See? So circle is very important. The difference is they got to know when to use what? Circle and point, right? That is the next thing about praying mantis. Circle and point. Here I circle, and then I point. Right. Okay, I circle, and I point. Okay, so now he's going to do the same thing to me. I'm going to circle and point. He's going to circle and point. I'm going to circle and point. See, so it just goes, it's just endless. Okay, so what are we doing? The circle and point has two important features. Number one, if I grab a person, he reacts. If I punch, he reacts to the punch. But if I grab the person twice, the praying mantis is about sticking. If I grab the person twice, he reacts and I haven't done anything yet. So now I have a free shot, or I have an opportunity to choose where I hit. If I do this, I have to already pick my target. I pick it, right? But if I'm here, oh, he puts his hand up, I'll hit low. If his hand is down, I'll hit high. So I get a chance to choose my target by doing that sticking action. The next thing is if somebody's pushing you, again with the sticking, pushes, instead of fighting against them, what I do is I roll, all right, and then I stick. And as long as I stick, that means I have some kind of control. Remember, if this person's hand is here and my hand is here, we both have hands, we only have two hands, right? So the other hand is where? It's over there. So as long as I have his hand here, I know where this hand is at. Right? If we touch here, I know where this hand is at. So he's only got one more hand. If he lifts his leg up, I can just lift my leg up. Same thing. It intersects. It intersects. Now the last part of the praying mantis is the praying mantis footwork. So remember, we have sticking. We had the circle, right, which is very important. We have the strapping. And then the last point is the footwork. And the praying mantis doesn't move very much. Praying mantis just kind of does this. And I jump to fly. So what the masters decided to do is to take the praying mantis style and add some kind of footwork. The footwork they chose was the footwork from watching monkeys. So the praying mantis can move around, and they add the monkey footwork with the praying mantis hands. So now you have a mobile style that can also stick. So now it becomes much more creative. See? And now because of the footwork, that adds another dimension to what we can do. For example, if he's here, and I do my 1-2, again, remember 1-2, causes to react, and I strike. Now the footwork causes me to be able to throw it. See, so now I use the top and the bottom. If I use the top and the bottom constantly, the person now is thrown off every step of the way. Here, I do my 1-2-3. As the person pushes at me, I use my bottom. See? So if I take his knee here, pop out the knee in this way. He's on this side, and when I'm on the same side, I do my triple. If he pushes at me, I use it this way. See? I push his knee this way. The knee, you can only go this way, right? Go this way is not too good, right? That's when it starts this way. So when you break your leg. This way, it's okay. It doesn't hurt, but it gets control. This, throwing, and also sliding and unbalancing, right? So while you're doing this, you're doing this, and while you're doing this, you're doing this, and while he's pushing, you're doing this. See, and you put it all together, and it just starts flowing, and starts flowing, and it starts flowing. And then, of course, the last thing we have is the strike. The strike. So after all of this, I'm not doing very much striking. This praying mantis said, look, you can always hit. Even this is a hit. So you need to get from point A to point B, right? Point A is some sort of stopping. You blunt the edge, you gotta stop it, you gotta circle, you gotta stick to it, some kind of interaction. Point A. Now I get to point B. When I'm at point B, I can always try to throw some kind of blow. Circular blows, we use this. This is the praying mantis hook hand. Okay, we call it in Cantonese the Diu Sao. Diu Sao. In Chinese, this is called the Chotsai Tolongkid, which is the 7-star praying mantis fish. And so this particular style of praying mantis from northern China, it's been handed down, and I am the 8th generation direct disciple of the 7-star praying mantis. In other words, I know my teacher, his teacher, his teacher, his teacher, going back 400 years just about. So, the strikes, using the wrist, here, using the fingertips, here, using the knuckles, here, using the inside of the palm, here, using the fingertips to control by attacking points. Everybody has parts of their body that hurt more than other parts of their body, okay? So, if his hand is here, and I want to pull him, maybe he's strong. Oh, he's too strong, right? So I use this. See, now that's going to do what? That's going to enable me to have more control. The same thing, if somebody was on top of me and I was this way, and he was holding me, see? So if he tries to knee me, I can use this, which is praying mantis, we use our forearm. I use the praying mantis forearm, I hit it in, then I use this. And what I'm doing here is, I'm attacking the nerve inside the leg here. If anybody just goes that to the back of the leg, and you feel that, so you can feel that it causes some pain right there. The next thing, here, in the shoulders. Again, places that hurt more than other places. This is kind of weak. Kind of weak. Kind of weak. In here, kind of weak. So, if somebody comes down to grab my legs, I reach in here. My thumbs are going in this part here. And as you push forward, I push back. So it's because it's pain here. This bone here is some kind of weak. We spend a lot of time in praying mantis trying to develop and make it stronger. But if you're not strong, and that bone is not strong, the simple matter of my finger pressing against the bone will cause me to be able to control you. Just the fingers.
I testify.
Just the fingers, right? And that goes go. So that adds another dimension. That means that when I grab somebody and I go to punch them, I'm also hurting the hand. If I'm touching you, I'm hurting you, right? I'm trying to hurt you anytime I touch you. If you're coming in like this, oh, I'm hurting you. If you're here, I'm hurting you. If you're here, I'm hurting you. If you're here, I'm hurting you. See? And none of that requires power. None of that requires somebody to be a big bodybuilding weightlifter. None of that requires you to even be in good health. You could be, ill, and you'll be able to do this, what we call dim yurt in Chinese, right? Dim yurt. That means the pressure point striking. The dim is points. Some masters spend their whole life just mastering that, just learning every point on the body, right? Every point of the body, like acupuncture. Every point of the body changes with seasons, which means they have to learn every point of the body, how it is in the summer, how it is in the winter, how it is in the fall, how spring. So that means in the summer, this might be good. But in the winter, so what happened? That's the summer. You got the wrong season here. You got to come back. Well, I got to fight you later because I don't know the winter one. I don't know the summer one. So it's quite a lot to learn. To me, it's just a bit too much to try to get all of that information and then do what? Hopefully somebody attacks you, within the time that you need. Yeah, you hope it, right?
All the instructions come up again.
Okay, thank you. I hope I gave you a little bit of information you like to know.
It's martial art movies with his makeup stuff. I'm thinking about 5 Deadly Venom. What is that?
To answer one of these You need to understand the genre of the movie for that time, and the number one thing, those movies were not meant for American public.
Well, yes, but they're huge successes with the American public for the same reason that Captain America, Civil War, and Suicide Squad, and all the rest are huge successes. Because those movies, that movie, Five Deadly Venoms, originally known as Five Venoms, was part of two different genres. One, not Kung Fu, Wuxia. Also, Zhang the martial art world, which gave birth to the DC Universe and the Marvel Universe. In Zhang the characters are super heroes. They have individual costumes, individual masks, individual techniques, individual weapons. Just like Spider-Man, just like Batman, just like Wolverine.
Yeah, you're right, but that's not my question.
What's your question?
My complaint actually is that this is not there's no, those guys are not doing anything that he has.
Two things. Number one, the snake style that was in Five Deadly is actually Kenpo real style. So a little erroneous on that. And there is a style that basically is technique on the fang and the tongue, right? And that is the five pattern on grin. It's actually a famous style of southern China. So you can't see the head and the tail of the snake at the same time. And the lizard and things like that. See, some of these things are related to martial arts because the lizard technique is basically a scaling technique. So they took liberties. How about if you turn into a lizard and you do these different things? So there's like a little bit of a crossover because some of martial arts, our background is in the movie. But that's how martial arts styles are created anyway. You know, somebody saw Praying Mantis and he came up with it. So I guess somebody saw Centipede, he can come up with it, you see? So, you know, I mean, yes, it's like this movie, yes, created in fantasy world, but, there is a bit of a background for some of that.
Enough said.
Thank you all for coming out. We'll try to do it again next year.